Has the virtual fencing collar system helped you with your ranch management practices?
Oh, most definitely. These collars, much like the GPS collars, give you real-time tracking of the cattle. Um, when anytime you need to find the cattle, you can drive right to them. There's other features about the app. The biggest one that comes to mind is the heat signatures. I'm able to log on every day and see not only where those cattle are at, but where they've been, and they've been able to concentrate. And at that point, if needed, I can go to that area, determine the utilization, and draw a polygon around that area, a virtual boundary, where those cattle cannot access that area again. However, the product we're using operates off an app on your phone. And like anything, it is easy, but there is a learning curve. There's a lot of functions there, and it's just a matter of learning all the functions.
How user friendly is the virtual fencing dashboard and interface?
The app itself, the product we're using, the virtual fencing, works off an app on your phone. There is a desktop application that you can log into where you can download information like location in a lat long type format and or just cattle activity. Other than virtual boundaries or the replacement of fencing, I've been able to use this product, at times where I was had cattle in an area because they had to be, say, at weaning, and they had to be there, but there was very utilization to a point was very critical. With the heat signatures, I could go every day and rotate the cattle, not only from the pasture that I put them back in at weaning, but over into the pasture they need to be with the virtual boundary, just every day moving the cattle. One feature about it is being able to exclude cattle from an area is as important as containing them in an area. It's allowed me to utilize areas within a pasture that had an actual fence between the boundary and the water. I was able to water in one pasture and with the virtual boundary move the cattle across the road, cut a hole in the fence, and put them in another, and use an area of less desirable species while still maintaining almost no utilization of black grandma. It's there's lots of features that work out.
In addition to using the virtual fencing system to contain cattle within a specific area, have you been able to use it to strategically utilize the landscape?
I think as we move along, we haven't had time, just beginning in June, but I think that is our goal, is to manage the landscape with the use of virtual fencing, and it can be done. There's no doubt about it.
Is the system 100% effective?
I don't believe the system. It's very effective. To what percentage, I can't answer. These cattle here that are in the background are highly trained to it. It didn't take that long to get them that way, but I don't know if it'll ever be 100% effective. There's been issues during the breeding season where we've had bulls collared, and obviously, if you've got bulls right next to each other, you might have one ignore the boundary. There's been other instances with increased activity that we can't explain where they've ignored the boundary, but under daily use, it's extremely effective. I think in the future, when it gets used to protect areas of critical habitat or riparian areas, being able to select livestock that adhere to the virtual boundary better, it might reach 100% effectiveness.
What kind of maintenance have you had to do on the collars themselves? For example, charging, repairs, lost collars, etc.
No, we've never lost any collar. I've had one collar come off a bull, but that was during the breeding season, and he was being a bull. The biggest maintenance issue, as you can see, the way the collar goes around the neck. When they change body condition, during the year, you either have to increase, tighten the collar or loosen the collar. It's just that's been the biggest maintenance I've seen. We have had one collar. You see how the collar operates. It's got a solar panel on both sides and a rechargeable battery in the bottom. We've had one collar that got moisture inside of it, and when we took it out, took the battery out and let it dry out, it went back to working. Now they are waterproof because if you see the design, when they drink water, it gets in the water. But we've had one that got a little moisture in, couldn't explain it, pulled it out, dried out, and it went back to working.
What kind of advice would you give to another rancher considering adopting this technology on their ranch?
Oh, you need to look at the different products. You need to because the different products on the market, a lot of them use a different communication method. Look at your terrain, your topography, determine which product would work best for you. Um, and look at your livestock management. There is some barriers here. Right now during calving, I'm not putting cattle in small confined areas because they have small calves. If you're calving year round, I don't know how confined you could put the cattle in a virtual boundary. So there's a lot of things to look at. There really is. The biggest one is the ability for the collar to communicate. And then if um, if if you're using a lower one type collar and you're on government land, look at land ownership, because where you can place towers becomes an issue. So there is barriers, and there are lots of things to be studied and considered. But it's a very good product, and it's very helpful in daily management.